What's up, dudes? I'm the Dominicator, also known as Master Dominic, and in this video, I'm going to hypnotize you to call me Master. As in all of my videos, you'll be asked to leave a comment at the end while hypnotized, so go ahead and log into an account that you can use for that. Mute any distractions, and continue when you're ready to get hypnotized. But a little explanation first. This is especially for those of you who have an aversion to using the word master. And it'll give you a way to interpret that word in such a way as to make it work for you. A master can be a mentor, or a coach, or a trainer, or a father figure. Any kind of dominant male authority figure. And so, as long as you're willing to accept that, even if on an unconscious level, then you'll find that it's an easy practice to adapt to. And why should you? Well, the more that you hold respect and high regard for that dominant male authority figure, the more that you can benefit from the suggestions and even the commands that I give you. Then thus, the more easily that I can mold and shape you into whatever it is that I have in mind, or whatever it is that you've got in mind, whether that be into a weightlifter dude or into an obedient servant for your master. Either way, it works better for both of us. I very much enjoy being a master to all my dudes. Now, to begin, I just want you to look at the pocket watch in front of you as it swings back and forth. Then just listen to the sound of my voice. And as you do so, as you listen to the sound of my voice, the more that you do so, the more that you can feel a wonderful, a relaxing, and a pleasant tone about it. A kind of relaxation and pleasantness that seems to carry with each and every single word that I say through the airwaves and right into your ears, right into your mind, where it sinks down and settles down and becomes a part of you. Man, there's such a wonderful feeling of relaxation and pleasantness from the sound. The more that you listen to it, the more that it just automatically relaxes the muscles and the muscle fibers of the body. The more that it just relaxes the mind as well. Man, the more that you look at that watch as it goes back and forth, as it sways back and forth, the more that it seems to have a pulling and a magnetic, compelling feeling about it. The more that with each and every single sway of the watch, then it seems to tire the mind, even as your eyes are able to remain open to look at it. And you might find that one of two things begins to happen then. That the watch, as it sways back and forth, tires the eyes so much that they begin to close down all by themselves, or that there's such a pulling and compelling and magnetic feeling about the watch that it causes the eyes to remain open. Even as the mind tires, and even as the mind slips down and goes down and drops down into an even more dreamlike and even more sleep-like state, and that's just fine. Because the eyes can remain open or closed, and no matter which it is, you'll find that you can drift, and that you can slip into a nice, a wonderful, relaxed, a sleep-like, and a dream-like state just so easily. And that the more that I speak to you, the more that you feel a wonderful, a warm, a masculine, and a dominant tone from the sound of my voice that just wraps around you, that just wraps around your body like a blanket. It's such a wonderful, warm, and a heavy feeling that it helps you to slip down and to go down, to drop down, into an even more relaxed, even more pleasant state. And such a wonderful and a warm feeling that wraps around your mind just like a blanket. It feels so good to slip down into that feeling, to sink down into that feeling. And the more that you do so, the better that you feel. The more that the mind just automatically relaxes all by itself. The more that the mind relaxes, the more that the body follows as well. It just feels so good to slip down, to go down, to drop down even deeper, even further, and even faster into that wonderful and dreamlike and sleep-like state. As you feel a magnetic and a pulling, a tugging sensation from the sound of my voice that just seems to pull out and to draw out, to tug out all of the thoughts inside of your mind. And there's something about that just feels so good as well. To feel a wonderful and a mind-melting and such a warm sensation from the sound of my voice, and it just begins to melt away all the thoughts in your mind. And it just begins to melt away those thoughts. And you even feel a bit of the resistance in your mind as well. A bit of resistance in the mind as well that just melts down with the sound of my voice. It just melts down even more, and more with each and every single word that I say. Each and every single word that I say, and each and every passing moment, you feel such a wonderful and a mind-melting feeling that all you want to do is just to sink down into it. And you might find that there are parts of the conscious mind that seem to want to resist, but the more that you listen to the sound of my voice, the more that all of that resistance just melts away. All of the thoughts in your mind, they just melt away and drip down and drop down instead. And yet, it just feels so good and so wonderful, so mind-meltingly pleasant, that all that you want to do is just to sink even deeper into that feeling that just feels so good. And in a moment's time, I'm going to snap my fingers and say the word sleep, and when I do, then you'll feel a snap, a click, that kind of feeling, an instantaneous motion that will take you down, that will drop you down, and that will snap you down into an even deeper, an even more relaxed, even more pleasant state of mind, and a state of dreamlike sleep. And it will happen just in an instant. You'll feel a wonderful, mind-melting feeling, a wonderful feeling of the waking world being sealed behind you, as if a door has clicked shut behind you. And as that happens, you'll slip down, drop down, and go down. And you'll be locked into such a wonderfully mind-melted state of dreamlike sleep that you won't even want to awaken. And you'll find that the more that you try to awaken, the more that any resistance that you feel just melts away. The more that you try to awaken, the more that any resistance that you use to awaken just melts away. The more that you try, the more that your mind just melts down, drips down, and drops down, taking you down even further into that wonderful and dreamlike state. And now feel as that door is beginning to swing shut and to click and to snap into place. And feel a heaviness in the body and the mind that begins to take you down, that begins to lock you into place. And now, sleep as you sink down even deeper into that wonderful and dreamlike state. And as you go down, drop down, click down, snap down into that state, the more that you do so, the more that you can feel the wonderful feelings and effects from the sound of my voice, a wonderful, warm, and masculine dominance that wraps around your mind, even more so, even tighter with each and every single word that I say. Man, it just feels so good. It feels so good to feel that wonderful, warm, and fatherly, masculine, and dominant feeling that wraps around your mind. It feels so good. It's the presence and the warmth of a mentor, a father figure, a coach, a trainer, a master. That just feels so good. It feels so good to have that presence presiding over your mind, a presence presiding over the mind that can tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. That can give you a kind of guidance, that can give you a kind of direction, that can give you a kind of purpose. And that just feels so good to feel that wonderful, warm, masculine, and dominant fatherly figure. To feel that feeling as it presides over the mind, as it clamps down even tighter over the thoughts in your mind, even more so with each and every single word. It feels so good that you could slip down, go down, and drop down even deeper into that wonderful, warm, and masculine, and fatherly feeling of dominance over your mind. And there's something about it that is so wonderfully mind-melting. It just causes all the thoughts in your mind that happen to crop up to just melt away in the instant that they do. And with each and every single word that I say, you can feel as if each and every thought that you have, that once it meets with the words that I say, that thought just melts away. And each and every thought that you have just melts away with the sound of my voice, my words, as they come in and replace your thoughts. There's something about that just feels so good to feel that pressing feeling of my voice and that wonderful, warm, and masculine dominance as it presses against your mind, as it wraps around your mind even tighter. And then you know that all of the suggestions, all of the commands that I give you will lead you into a better state of body and a better state of mind as well. It's a good thing to have a coach, a mentor, a trainer, a master. And the more, in fact, the more dominant that dominant male authority figure is, the better that it will lead you into that good and that positive state of body and of mind. And there's nothing wrong about it at all. There's nothing wrong about it at all. The more that you want to, and the more that you desire to become a dominant male yourself, the better it is to learn from a dominant male. The better it is to learn from a coach, from a teacher, a mentor, a master. What better way to learn to become dominant yourself than to learn from a master, than to learn from such a dominant male that others call him master. That is a good feeling to have that dominant male authority figure presiding over the mind. And the more and more that it happens, the more that it wraps and it presses around your mind, the more comfortable that it becomes, and the easier that it becomes to sink into it, to adapt to it, the easier then it becomes to sink down underneath that wonderful warm and masculine dominance that presses on your mind, that wraps around your mind. And the more that you can feel a pulling, a tugging, a magnetic sensation from the sound of my voice and from each and every word that I say, just as if each and every word has a kind of magnetism about it that makes you want to follow the suggestions that I give you. And in fact, the more that you do so, the more that you just want to take in and to receive suggestions. As you know, and as the mind, as the brain knows that the more that you do, the more that you receive and that you follow those suggestions, the more that they lead you into a better state of body, a better state of mind as well. And that just feels so good, that the mind learns, that the brain learns that it's a good thing to do, to follow those suggestions. The more and more that you just want to receive them, that you just want to receive them, and the more that you do, the more that you just want to follow them. That's the more, in fact, that you just want to receive commands, to feel and to experience that pressing sensation against the mind, to feel and to experience that influence, that masculine dominance, and the feeling of having a master to follow and to obey. That just feels so good. The more that you feel it, the better and better that it feels to have a master. It just feels so good that you feel such a wonderfully overpowering and mind-melting sensation that just melts away all the thoughts, all the resistance inside of your mind. And in fact, you feel and you can experience a thought that replaces all the thoughts in your mind, a thought that is a response to each and every single sentence, each and every single phrase that I say. It's a thought, a thought that rises up and that billows up inside of your mind in response to each and everything that I say. You can feel as the words, yes, master, as they echo inside of your mind in response to each and every sentence, each and every phrase that I say. Then you can feel them, starting even now, that with each and every complete sentence that I utter, that with each and every phrase that I say, you can feel as those words, as they billow up, as they rise up, as they echo inside of your mind, just automatically and involuntarily, just like that. And even if you don't intend for them, that they just seem to echo in your mind all by themselves. And yet, the more that happens, the better that it feels. The better that it feels to sink down, to go down, to drop down underneath that dominance. The better that it feels to respond in such a way to your master. The better that it feels to respond to each and every suggestion that I give you. And the more that you can feel as you are shifted and shaped into even more of a masculine dude yourself, as you're shifted and shaped into even more of a masculine dude yourself. It just feels so good. It feels so good to follow and to obey your master. And the more that you do so, the more that you can feel a wonderful, relaxing, mind-melting, and pleasant feeling and effect that just courses and surges all throughout your mind. It just feels so good to feel that wonderful and perhaps even a tingling and a tickling feeling all throughout your body and all throughout your mind. Each and every single time that you feel as those words echo inside your mind, the words, yes, master, man, you might even find that they begin to work their way into your body. And then you feel the feeling of your mouth forming those words, twisting and turning and shifting and shaping all by itself to respond to each and every single sentence that I say with the words, yes, master. And each and every single time that you do so, you feel an even better feeling, an even more pleasant feeling, an even more wonderfully spine-tingling feeling with each and every single response that just feels so good that you feel as the body just wants to respond all by itself, as the mind just responds all by itself. A wonderfully pulling, magnetic, and tugging sensation. And even though there might be something latent in the mind that seems to resist it, the more that I speak to you, the more that you feel that resistance just melting away. As you feel the feeling from the sound of my voice, the kind of masculine dominance that just trickles down and sinks down and settles down inside of you more and more with each and every single word. It's just as if, with each and every word that I say, that it's causing little bits and pieces of that masculinity, of that dominance, of the good and the positive qualities from your master to trickle down, to sink down, and to drop down inside of your own mind. And that's so you can feel, as with each and every word that I say, with each and every suggestion that I give, that I'm turning you into even more of a masculine dude, and even more of a masculine weightlifter dude, to something that just feels so good to feel, unless you just listen to the sound of my voice. And the more that you do so, the more that the mind learns, that the brain learns that it's a good thing to do, that it's a good thing to do to have a master to follow and to obey, that it's a good thing to do to respond to each and every single suggestion that I give you in the affirmative, and to respect and to hold in high regard your master. The more that you do so, the more that you just automatically, that you involuntarily respond to that magnetic, that pulling, that tugging sensation inside your mind. The more that you respond to that masculine, that dominant influence that turns and twists and morphs and shifts and shapes you into even more of a masculine dude yourself. It just feels so good. So good to have a master, that the more that you do sink even further under that wonderful, warm and masculine dominance, the better and better that it feels. The more that the mind just opens up and accepts that thought of having a master to follow and to obey, to have a master, a mentor, a coach, a trainer, and a father figure to follow and to obey. Now, so I turn and twist and morph and shift and shape you into even more of a masculine weightlifter dude yourself. That just feels so good. The more that it happens, the more easily that you just sink down, float down, and drop down underneath it. And the more involuntarily, the more automatically that it happens. It just seems as if there's something about your mind that just responds with the words, yes, master, with each and every suggestion that I give you, with each and every command I give you. Something about your body, about your mouth, that just responds with the words, yes, master, with each and every suggestion, with each and every command. And there's something about it as well that just feels so good, so natural, and so perfect that the more that it happens, the more involuntarily, the more automatically that it happens, the more that you don't even have to expend any effort at all. In fact, it just becomes a habit all by itself. Then, the more that it does so, and the better feeling that you get, the better and better that it feels. In fact, it feels so good, so natural, and so automatic to call me master at every single opportunity that you have, to respond to each and everything that I say with the words, yes, master, to respond to each and every suggestion with the words, yes, master, to respond to each and every command with those words, yes, master, to address me as master each and every time that you speak to me, that with each and every sentence that you say, that you slip in that form of address, master, and that you show that respect and that high regard to me each and every time that you speak to me at all. Man, in fact, the more that you do so, the more that you slip down, that you sink down, that you drop down, that you click down, snap down underneath that wonderful feeling of that masculine dominance, the better and better that you feel, the better that it feels to have a master. The better that it feels to have a master, and the more and more automatically and voluntarily that you just want to follow and to obey the suggestions and the commands they give you. That just feels so good. The more that it happens, the better and better that it feels. It feels so good to receive a direct command and to respond with the words, yes, master. That just feels so good. It gives you a wonderful, a nice, spine-tingling and tickling feeling all throughout the body and the mind. And so, I'll give you a few commands so that you can feel and experience that wonderful feeling Now then, you will say, yes, master, in response to each and every suggestion, each and every command I give you. You will address me as master each and every time that you speak to me. Each and every comment that you leave on a video of mine, you will address me as master, regardless of whether or not I've instructed you to do so in the video. You will address me as your master each and every single opportunity that you have. Then, each and every time that you do so, you will feel a wonderful, a good, a pleasant, spine-tingling feeling, knowing that each and every single time that you do so, that it enforces that idea, that I am your master. Know that in a moment I'm going to count from 1 to 3. When I reach 3, I'll snap my fingers, and you'll be in a nice, half-awake and half-asleep state in which you will leave a comment for this video. You will leave a comment that says, yes, master, I will address you as master. At the end of this video, when I click my fingers together, you'll be in a nice and half-awake, half-asleep state. You'll feel a kind of force, a compulsory force that possesses your body and your mind to leave a comment at the end of this video. And you'll say, yes, master, I will address you as master. Then, once you leave that comment, you're going to feel a wonderful, a happy, a spine-tingling sensation, a tingling and a tickling sensation, a surge of pleasantness all throughout the body as you know and you realize that comment to be the complete and total and absolute truth. You will also like this video as you like having a master, and subscribe as you would like to know, then to hear anytime your new master has any new content, any new commands or suggestions to give you. And now I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do so, you're going to feel a rising, a lifting feeling that will take you back up into a nice and half-awake and half-asleep state in which you will leave that comment for me, a comment that says, yes, master, I will address you as master. And now, beginning with 1, as you feel that rising, lifting, and floating feeling that takes you back up just as if you were riding on a cloud. And now 2, coming back up even more, and even further, even faster. Then now 3. Alright dudes, like, subscribe, and check out Dominicator.com to visit my digital download store and to schedule an appointment with me to get hypnotized. Check you later dudes.